Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Alta Live. This is the digital interview series we do here at Alta Journal. Today, I am so excited to dig a little deeper into an article and profile in our magazine. Wonder Hussy, Sarah Jane Woodall, better known as Wonder Hussy, is she describes herself, an American idiot, iconoclast, and adventurous with an insatiable curiosity about and love for the weird wonders of the wild, wild world. In fact, she's based in the West, and so her incredibly popular YouTube channel goes on adventures and travel logs throughout the West. We are so excited to dig a little deeper into Wonder Hussy's world, learn more about what it's like being a YouTube creator, how she finds her incredible spots throughout the West, what her interactions with fans are like. We're going to talk about all that and more. But before we dive in with Sarah Jane, I hope if you haven't learned of Alta before, if you're new to us, you check us out. Alta Journal is an award-winning quarterly magazine focused on California and the West. We have tons of exciting articles, fiction, poetry, crosswords, long-form investigative journalism, and we're quarterly, so you can subscribe to Alta. 4 issues a year. You also, right now, if you subscribe for our $50 a year membership, get this really amazing book of all of our cartoons, all the cartoons that have appeared in the print issue of the magazine in the first 5 years of us. So if you like what we do here, come to our free events. Every Wednesday at 12:30 is Alta Live. The third Thursday of the month is our wonderful California book club. And consider subscribing, joining us as a member. Wonder Hussy, Sarah Jane, and I will talk for about 30 minutes and get to as many questions as we can. We've also gotten a bunch of email questions. We're going to try and get to those as well. I know Wonder Hussy fans have questions of their own. There are also folks that aren't familiar with you yet, Sarah. So we want to kind of touch on all the bases for the newbies, for the rookies, and for the longtime fans. Explore a ton about that. Don't worry, this interview will be recorded and posted to altaonline.com later this afternoon or evening. We're going to send you a link where you can check out Wonder Hussy's videos, where you can read the article by Meg Bernard in our current issue, and anything else that pops up today. So I love to see everyone letting us know where they're zooming in the comments. It is fantastic. Chicago, Tracy, Azusa, California, East LA. It's so great to see you guys. I am here in Novato, California. Sarah, where are you today?
I'm in glamorous Thousand Oaks, California, parked on top of a hill in an industrial park.
You are technically off-road right now.
Yeah, so I'm in the LA area to do some videos, and I just needed a quiet place to do this. And so I looked for the closest open space, and it was this random hill that I don't think I was actually technically supposed to drive up, but I'm up here now, and no one has come knocking on my window, so I think I'm okay.
I mean, if someone comes knocking on your window, this is not the first time we've done Alta Live from a car or an outdoor area. It would be the first time we had some type of law enforcement involved, which would be very exciting. And I love a first. You pointed out earlier, we were chatting beforehand. I think that you are the first Alta Journal subject that we've ever had whose previous magazine, the previous feature that the previous profile that was done of you was in Penthouse. The next one is Alta Journal.
Yeah.
I think that is a win for you professionally.
What next? I look forward to
What
seeing
next?
the next thing.
All right. So let's begin at the beginning. Who is Wonder Hussy? Are you tell us about this persona, this YouTube journey that you are taking hundreds of thousands of people on. In fact, you are at almost 100 million views. You're very, very close. I think you're at 997 million.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Oh, I was checking out your stats.
Well,
So tell us about Wonder Hussy.
Well, I got the name. I made the name up because I used to work as a nude model. That's why I was in Penthouse. I was an artistic nude model for many years in Vegas, but I was artistic. I would take guys out into the desert and do these artsy poses, and everybody always assumed the worst of me and thought of me as a hussy. So I thought, well, rather than fight it, I'll just own it and be not just a hussy, but the Wonder Hussy. Well, eventually I started getting too old to model anymore, and I kind of lost interest in modeling, to be completely honest. But fortunately, because I modeled outdoors and I was always scouting for new places to pose nude outdoors, well, I became more interested in the scouting the new places and was able to turn that into a YouTube channel because I would go to a lot of old ghost towns and abandoned buildings. I don't know why photographers always like photographing naked women in abandoned places, but they do. So I was already going into those kinds of places. I thought, oh, I'll just start filming videos of it for fun. And then I realized I can make a buck doing it. And I transitioned completely away from modeling. Probably it took about 2 years for me to be able to make a full-time living YouTubing. But the irony in all of that is I make more money YouTubing than I ever did modeling, and I don't have to take my clothes off. How about that?
But you absolutely can if you want to.
Well, not on YouTube, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, you can't do it on YouTube. You did it. I will point out this gorgeous this article you've got to read by Meg Bernard. Shout out to Meg. I think she's in the audience today. And
Hi,
photos by
Meg.
Greg
Mwah, love
Siegel.
you.
And you've got, as someone points out, you have calendars. You sell calendars on your website. We're gonna
That's the
send you.
only modeling I do anymore is I make calendars. Other than that, I am retired.
We folks will send you links to all of this. So how much of is Wonder Hussy a persona when we watch your videos? For those of us who've seen your videos on YouTube, you are very high energy. You take us on adventures. You're wandering through, the desert or San Francisco or LA. You were just telling me about that. How much of this is a persona or a character, and how much of this is Sarah Jane?
Unfortunately, none of it is a persona. It's all me. I'm just like this. And I think that is kind of detrimental to my mental health. Like, it would almost be better if I put on my Wonder Hussy costume and became Wonder Hussy, but I'm always Wonder Hussy. Wonder Hussy is always me. So it's less confusing that way. I'm a big proponent of radical transparency, not keeping any secrets, no skeletons in my closet. And so by being my authentic self all the time, just there's less to hide and less to worry about. That being said, yeah, it can be tiring to always be on. Sometimes I think I
Yeah.
need to get like a little lapel pin that's a neon sign that says on or open or closed. Sometimes I just want to be closed for business. But I guess that's what I do when I go inside my little shack and close the door. That means I'm closed. Don't bother me.
Can you one of the things that we focus on at Alta is, we're focused on California and the West. And I was realizing you could do this from anywhere in the world. You could be in Bora Bora, you could be in Europe. You are set up. I mean, right now, you've specifically just to do this interview, tried to go into the middle of nowhere. You went off-roading. Why have you, I know that you've spent so much time in the West, but why have you chosen the West as kind of your home
Well,
base
I
for
was
for
born here. I didn't really choose it. So I was just kind of making do with what I had. I lived in Las Vegas, and I thought, people are very interested in Las Vegas and the West and what's in the desert outside Las Vegas. I have done videos. Like one time I went to Namibia and I did some videos over there and they didn't really get that many views. People just want to see me poking around the West. People have a fascination with the mythology of the West, and I do too. Uh, and so I do want to travel other places, and I do. I was just up in Bigfoot country in the forest, and I've been at the beach and all. But I something and that is the West, but the desert in particular, like the lonely, desolate stretches of the West, I think is where the most interesting stuff is.
There's also kind of an interesting cast of characters, some of which we read in Meg's article are kind of regulars in your world. Um, is there a community that you've developed, and are there, I mean, you're kind of one of the characters of the West. You remind me a little bit of, the Desert Oracle, or there's, kind of, is that part of the charm and fun for you?
Oh yeah, I mean I don't know the Desert Oracle personally, but I'd love to be buddies. Um, I
Neither
have
does
other
Ken
people.
Lane. You guys would be fast friends.
Yeah, I went to a reading he did in the little town where I live. So I mean I didn't officially meet him, but he seemed like a cool guy. Anyway, I have other YouTuber friends and people who follow me that I'm friends with and that make appearances in my videos. So yeah, I guess I mean I think people when they watch a YouTube channel, they like to see a recurring cast of characters. And for a long time it was just me, which some people probably like that better. I've gotten angry emails from one woman in particular. I hate it when you have men in your videos. I'd rather watch you just doing stuff by yourself. Like, okay, but most people I feel like they want to see you interact with other people. And so I have made a conscious effort to try to get other people into my videos. And I know not everybody wants to be on camera. Like my sister. My sister's this mysterious presence like Snuffleupagus on Sesame Street. Remember the adults couldn't see Snuffleupagus, only the kids could? Well,
Oh
nobody
yeah.
ever gets to see my sister. She's always there in the background, but she doesn't really want to be on camera. Well, she recently did make a few on camera appearances, which God bless her for it. But I didn't force her into it. I just feel like, yeah, it's more fun when there are recurring characters. And so I've got Ross, the one-legged miner, my neighbor out in Tecopa. He bought a big abandoned mine. He's a character. He lives out there. He's in my videos all the time. I've got there's a lot of characters in the little town I moved to, and so a lot of them have started making more appearances in my videos.
We actually got a question from Doug in Florida who wants to know if you're going to be doing more videos with your sister, who seems to be a great supportive sibling but prefers her privacy.
Yeah. If she's open to it, yes. I don't want to. She didn't sign up for this. You know, we have people showing up at the house like randomly all the time, and
How do they find you?
it's pretty easy to find me. And it's funny because when I lived in Vegas, I lived right in the middle of downtown Vegas. You could find my address in 30 seconds for free on the assessor's website, and I only had a handful of people show up. I go, well, if I move out to middle of nowhere, nobody will show up. No, now it's like a destination adventure to come say hi to Wonder Hussy. So I don't mind. You know, I'm a very gregarious person. My sister, like, she didn't really ask for this, so a lot of times she's out doing yard work or whatever, and these people come up and she's runs interference for me. She doesn't seem to mind. She's very good natured about it, and just about everybody who's ever showed up has been nothing but nice, so it's not a problem.
Showed
I
up at your home unannounced?
Yeah, all the time, man, and I don't understand, like, where were these people raised to think that it's appropriate to just show up at a stranger's house? I mean, again, no one has been anything other than nice, so I guess I can't complain, but it's kind of weird.
No, what you've had a couple of. Can you tell us, how about we do, what's been your best fan encounter? What's your favorite fan encounter, the most special fan encounter you've ever had? And then we'll go to the opposite end of that.
Okay, so my best, I thought about this last night 'cause I knew you were going to ask me this, and head and shoulders above all the others, I went in for my pap smear one year. You know, I go in every year to get my pap smear, and I had this really cool gynecologist, an older Chinese guy, and I'd been seeing him for years. Well, I knew he was going to retire because I'd gotten a letter in the mail. Oh, I'm retiring. You're going to find a new doctor, but you know, I'm coming in for my last visit with him. Do the exam, and you know, this was a few years ago before I had that many followers, so I would always wear like my Wonder Hussy hat everywhere I went. I'm sitting laying in the table with my feet in the stirrups and my hat on, you know, la la la, no big deal. So I get dressed, I go home. Then like a week later, I get my results letter in the mail, and it goes, you know, dear Ms. Woodall, I'm pleased to report that the results of your annual were normal. On a more personal note, I was so excited to see you walk into my office because I'm a huge fan. Yeah,
Oh
come
my
to find out.
God.
Yeah, and he could only tell me this because he was retiring. Otherwise, it would have been a breach of medical ethics, but I guess. But he was a huge fan. He wanted to know. He had all these questions for me about different places he wanted to go. And he doesn't have a four-wheel drive vehicle, so he was wondering if he could come with me sometime. Like, well, why not? You never know when you're going to need a gynecologist in the middle of nowhere.
That would have been a hard pass for me, but God bless you. So, all right, so that's a weird one, but I love that it's your favorite. Has there been a scary one, a
Some
terrifying?
Yeah, well, I had two people within the span of probably a week show up at my house asking if I would have their baby. And I was like, to both of them, like, I'm too old, man. And the first guy kind of took no for an answer. The second guy did not take no for an answer. And it went on for a while, but I think that issue resolved itself, is all I'm going to say about that.
Okay, fair enough. Yikes. I'm sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Well, I mean, whatever. It was more bothersome than anything, you know. It wasn't. I've never been. People always ask me like, "Oh, aren't you scared? You know, traveling around the middle of nowhere, blah blah."
Yeah.
No, I'm not scared. Sometimes some things are unsettling or bothersome, but I mean, knock wood, nothing has been scary.
I know you probably tackle this question a bunch, but for those that don't know, and I'm certainly wondering, you explore a lot of places that are clearly off the beaten path. You have an off-road vehicle, I imagine you just driving through, hills and bushes. Um, how do you find these places? How do you select? Do you keep a running list and I'm gonna do, X
Yes, I
thousand
do.
X
Well,
to
I get a lot of emails from people that go, "Hey, you should check this place out," or "Hey, check that place out." And so I keep a Google map with little pins on it of all the places I want to check out. So when I'm traveling through a certain part of the country, I can look and see what I have pinned in that area and, you know, go check it out. Or sometimes, like you asked me specifically in your email about, I just did a video at this random cemetery in the middle of nowhere outside Bakersfield. That I just happened to see on Google Maps as I was driving along. Well, that looks interesting. Let me go. I mean, if I have the time, I'll go check it out. I mean, that's how you find the most interesting stuff. You have to be nosy.
There's something that Meg touched on in her article, Wonder Hussy to the Rescue, was that there is certainly with content creators, especially kind of in public land areas or protected land areas, bringing attention to sacred land, hidden places, land that is probably, shouldn't be attracting tons of tourists just in terms of maintaining its environmental integrity. How have you received any criticism for that? Are you conscious of that in trying to, I mean, you've got hundreds of thousands of followers. Do you have any kind of personal rules around
Well,
revealing
I
sacred
mean,
things?
obviously, I'm very conscious of that. I'm a super ethical person to my own detriment. Like, if I was just blasting all these places out there and telling you the name and how to get there, I'd probably have a lot more followers. But I try to be ethical about it. And so, like, especially when it comes to, like, I go to a lot of natural hot springs, people get really upset about that. Like, don't share these hot springs online, they're going to be overrun. So I try to obfuscate a lot and be very vague with the details. And I always give the place a fake name, and, you know, do what I can to not show the name on any of the signs or anything. Like, I guess I'm just kind of trying to split the difference, because I also strongly feel, and I know because I get a lot of emails from people saying that they are disabled and they are physically incapable of going to see these places, and they love watching my channel because they can finally see some of these places which they would normally not be able to see. So I feel like it's fair to those folks to let them get a peek, but I also totally understand not wanting to see the places get overrun. So, man, I'm like walking the line, and it's tough. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job, but I know I'm not doing a good enough job for everyone.
Diana, to kind of echo your point, Diana in the chat points out, Sarah takes us to places we will never get a chance to see or can't physically go to. The older I get, the more I admire her adventures.
Oh, thank you, Diana.
Speaking of the hot springs, we actually got a question asking if you will ever do a comprehensive video of hot springs of the West.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. I never thought about it. I did one once because I was out of content. I go, oh, I got to shoot something. Well, oh, I'll do my top 10 hot springs of all time. But then after I shot it, I realized, oh no, it would have been funnier if I made it the 10 worst hot springs I've ever been to. So I kind of did that in the post. So I think it's called the 10 worst hot springs, but it's actually secretly my 10 favorite. I just gave them all horrible descriptions and made them all sound bad. So that is up there on my channel. But to do a comprehensive one of all the hot springs, yeah, that's actually a very interesting idea, and I might consider doing that.
All right, shout out to Doug. Thank you for that idea.
Thanks, Doug.
All right, we've got another question. The questions are coming in. Folks, please use the Q&A to ask questions. We're getting a lot, so I'm just going to start diving into these. We're also getting them via email as we chat. Sarah, the question about your mom, I don't know about your mom. Is she planning on moving
My
near
mom is in the
you?
my mom is in the process of moving right now, so I couldn't travel around as much as I wanted because I had to be kind of near. She lives not far from you, actually, in Northern California. So yes, I'm helping her. That is definitely going to put a crimp in my plans for the next month or so, but that's fine. It's your mom, man. You gotta help her.
Yeah. Gary asks, and I think this is probably a question that we all might have. He says, what do you say to people who say being a YouTuber isn't a real job? And he watches every video. I'm just curious, can you tell us a little bit? I don't want you to have to reveal too much, about how it works, but how does it work? This is your full-time job,
Yeah.
creating content on YouTube.
I work at least 60 hours a week, so I don't know how anybody could say it wasn't a job. I know people go, oh, these influencers, all they do is, travel around, la, 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 having fun, hiking. Well, that's part of it, but it's also the planning, finding where you're going to go, the logistics, trying to figure out where you can camp, doing the actual hike, driving to the trailhead. Then you got to edit the videos. All of that is at least 2 days, I would say 2 days a week of work per video. So now I do 2 videos a week. Now we're at 4 days. Well, then I also get a lot of email, and I got to answer as much of that as I can. I gotta keep my Instagram and my Facebook updated, and and then every now and then I gotta do a live stream, and oh, I've got a blog I'm supposed to keep updated, and it's a lot, man. I'm enjoying it, but it's a friggin' lot. It is definitely a job, and anybody who thinks it isn't needs to try it out for a week. Because I think if I boil it down to like how many hours I work and how much money I make, I probably make minimum wage, but I enjoy it, you know. So for me, it's worth it.
Chris asks, what's been your most challenging location?
Well, there's different kinds of challenges. Like I've been trying to go to this ghost town in the Bay Area for a while, but it's like underwater, and I didn't have my galoshes with me. So this will be my third attempt next time I go back there with my dang galoshes. There's that kind of challenge, or hiking Mount Whitney. That was pretty challenging to get to the top of Mount Whitney. But then there's also like psychologically challenging. Like if it is a place that I feel like is very sensitive, like, oh, should I show this or what can I show? Like there's different kinds of challenges. Almost every location I go to has some challenge or another.
Chad asks about the cemetery. I think this is one of your most recent videos. I just watched it. Can you just confirm that it's in Bakersfield on Union? And do you think it's haunted?
It's not in Bakersfield. It's 40 miles outside Bakersfield in Taft, or Mckitrick, actually. It's in Mckitrick. And no, I don't think it was haunted. I mean, I'm a big old skeptic. I've never experienced anything supernatural. I was in the cemetery just before dark. Maybe if I stayed till after dark, I would have seen something, but uh, I can't say. I didn't notice anything.
You seemed to be there like perfectly at magic hour. It was just like the setting
Oh,
sun
it's
and sunset.
beautiful.
Yeah, it was gorgeous and fun to kind of peek around with you. Several questions. When is your next meet and greet?
Well, I'm glad you asked. We're having a big party on November 2nd in the town where I live, Tecopa, California, a little hot spring town on the edge of Death Valley, 90 minutes outside Las Vegas, easy to fly into, plenty of accommodations, lots of BLM land, of camp for free. Come on down. It's going to be a big party. We got a grant from the States. We're going to have bands, we're going to have food trucks, vendors. I'm going to invite all my travel YouTuber friends. So Mike Z will be there, Jenny Gibbs will be there, Wandering Jeepsy will be there, Ross the One-Legged Miner will be there, and any other traveling YouTubers that I can think of to invite and spread the word if you're watching this. November 2nd, Saturday. Come on down, and I'll be there. I don't know what. I guess I'll just be sitting in a tent, shaking hands and taking photos.
From the chat, Tom will be there. So I see one for Tom.
Awesome.
All right, getting more questions. How is it? Al asks if YouTube has ever tried to unmonetize one of your videos. What's it like working with YouTube as a platform?
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is it's their toy and they're letting me play with it. So I have to play by their rules. The issue is their rules change a lot and you're not always aware of these changes. So I've had plenty of videos. There's a difference between demonetizing a video. That just means they won't show ads on it. So you're not going to really make any money versus like sometimes they'll just take a video down. They go, that's in violation of our terms. And that's happened to me a couple times. And I didn't realize, that I had violated their terms. Their terms keep changing. So it can be frustrating, but I actually, for the most part, enjoy tiptoeing around their rules. Like, they don't want you to talk about certain things. You can talk about whatever you want. It's just the language you use. And I love the challenge of expressing myself fully without using the hot button words that trigger their sensors.
Is there anything I mean, I kind of asked this before in terms of, our conversation today. Is there anything that's off limits? Is there anything that's off limits for your channel, be it on YouTube or any of the other social
Now,
media?
obviously, YouTube, you're not allowed to talk about certain things, so that's off
But for
limits.
you personally,
For me personally, I try not to get into any politics because I feel like it's just needlessly divisive. We're already so polarized. I have a lot of people on the super hardcore far right that follow me. And then I have an equally large number of super lefty people that follow me. Well, I like the fact that I appeal to all these folks and I'll see them interacting in the comments and talking to each other in a civil manner, which is almost unheard of nowadays. I think that's a really cool thing. So I'm not trying to rock the boat. I like to stay a person of mystery in the middle, and that's what I am, man. I'm a big old centrist.
Tom asks, have you ever been shot at or otherwise chased out of a camping spot? You do
No.
kind of go off very off the grid.
Yes, but I mean, I'm trying to be really smart about it and not trespass or go any place where somebody might be shooting at me. I mean, I've definitely heard gunfire. Well, there's a lot of open lands in the West, and people go out there and do target practice, and sometimes it can be unsettling because you're like, well, gee, I hope they're practicing proper firearm safety and not aiming my way. But no, I've never been purposely shot at. I'm very respectful, especially when it comes to camping. I always say I'm not afraid of anything. Well, I am really afraid of being woken up in the middle of the night by the police, which only happened to me once back in Missouri. But I was within my rights. I was camping in a place I was legally allowed. This officer just didn't know that. And so I had to pull out the brochure and show him. And he went, oh, well, all right, I'm gonna let you stay here tonight. Oh, thank you for letting me stay here. Anyway, I don't ever want that to happen again. So no, I go, the reason I go so far in the middle of nowhere is I know no one's gonna mess with me out there. It's maybe counterintuitive, but the farther you go out into the middle of nowhere, the safer you are.
All right. It's
You don't
making me
sound
nervous.
convinced, Beth.
I mean, I wouldn't do it. It takes a very special, very brave kind of person to do this. I admire
Well,
you.
thank you, thank you.
All right. This guy keeps asking in the chat, Mr. Tab, can I
Oh,
ask you
Mr.
if you would
Tab, I
like a
know all
tab
about him.
soda? Okay. So you seem to, I mean, we have
Listen,
Alta regular.
Mr. Tab has been emailing me for years. He loves Tab soda. They don't make it anymore. It's a big thing, Tab. He sent me a few cans of Tab, and those are collector's items. So thank you, Mr. Tab. Nice to see you on here. I did get your email with the AI superhero. I appreciate it.
You seem to have, I mean, talk about a cast of characters in the Wild West that you live around. In terms of your followers, what kind of effort do you make to engage and interact? You get hundreds, if not thousands, of comments on each of your YouTube videos. That sounds
I
right.
don't answer my comments, and I feel like I'm being rude and not doing so, but man, I get so much email. Beth, I have like 13,000 unread emails. It's a nightmare to look at my inbox. Like I have to keep buying more storage from Gmail every year. I do what I can, man. I answer as much as I can. And so yeah, people like Mr. Tab or these other people that have been called like Gary. I think I know which Gary that is, to the point where like I don't even really have any real friends. Like all my mental bandwidth is occupied with these people that I communicate with online. I don't know if it's healthy, to be honest, but then when I meet these people in person, I feel like I'm friends with them. So I guess I just have a weird, very loose definition of friend.
At some point, you've got to kind of shut down. You can't presumably maintain this energy and enthusiasm and positivity 24/7, every day. What does shutting down or kind of turning off Wonder Hussy for a little bit look like
It's
for you?
it's almost impossible. It's very difficult because I always feel rude. But ideally, I like 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Like I like to go into I live in a little shack at our Death Valley compound. I like to go in there, close the door. When the door's closed, please don't bother me. I need 12 hours to sleep, peace out, just like veg out and look at Instagram or something stupid. I need some alone time because believe it or not, I am actually an introvert. I've just worked very hard to make myself extroverted, but I'm still an introvert at heart. And so I do need, it's like a yin yang. I'm happy to be for 12 hours, but then I need to be for 12 hours.
And for the 12 hours, what are you doing? Are you sleeping? Are you
I,
watching
yes, I
reality
sleep a
TV?
lot. Oh my God, I love this. I need at least 8 hours of sleep a night, at least. And then, I'm also vain. So it takes me an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening. And then I got to exercise. And, well, before you know it, it's more than 12 hours. I mean, it's a struggle. I mean, I feel like every morning when I wake up, I'm on a treadmill that has been set to the maximum speed, and I just run as fast as I can all day, trying to stay on the treadmill, because if I stop for a second, guess what happens? I'll fly off the treadmill and smack my head in the wall.
Lisa asks, how are you enjoying living in Copa? Do you like
I
it
do.
still?
I like living in a really small town. It's hot there right now. Obviously, I don't like that so much. There's downsides to it. I like living anywhere, but I do. I like it. Just as much as I like living in Las Vegas.
And so you live on this compound with your sister,
Mhm.
and it's soon your mom? Is your mom going to live with you or
No,
nearby?
my mom does not want to live in the desert, unfortunately. I mean, it would be an easy solution for all of us, but she's not cut out for the desert. So no, it's just me and my sis. I don't know, my sister was living in LA. I'm living in Vegas. We go, man, let's move to the desert and be weird. Okay. So we like this little hot spring town because we like hot springs. And it was, it's only an hour and a half from Las Vegas. Like, it seemed convenient. Okay, so we bought this property. We got power tools. We could fix it up. Oh, that was like 3 years ago now. And we have fixed it up with a lot of help. And so it's comfortable now. I mean, it was a little rough at first, but it's comfortable now. I have Starlink, I'm connected. Do I really need to be? I mean, I used to live in downtown Las Vegas, like right in the thick of it. Do I need to be there? Well, I still have my house, I might go back and forth. I'm the kind of person that can do that, go from the middle of nowhere to the center of everything.
Can you tell us a little bit about some upcoming videos that you're working on?
Oh my gosh, well, I'm on this expedition right now where I shot a ton of stuff. I went all the way up to Mount Shasta and hiked up there. A lot of weird new age tidbits involved in that story. Then I went to Bigfoot country, deep in the redwood forest. I went to a Bigfoot trap that was absolutely fascinating.
A Bigfoot trap?
Yes, that somebody built a trap for Bigfoot. That's all I'm going to say. You'll have to stay tuned. I went to the coast. I hiked to an old abandoned lighthouse. Now I'm getting ready. As soon as we're done here, I'm going down to Hollywood to hike up to the Hollywood sign and do some stuff down there. Man, I think I shot like 20 videos on this trip. So there's a lot of new stuff to stay tuned for.
I know that one of your earlier careers in Las Vegas was as a writer. Are you planning on, I forget who asked it, I'm so sorry. Are you planning on writing a book?
Oh my gosh, yes, it's just impossible to find the time. I love writing is my number one passion. I feel like I'm a pretty good writer. I'd love to write a book, a memoir about my weird life in Las Vegas. First of all, that was fascinating on something. And then now I have this whole other thing going on with this. Like, this would be pretty interesting too. Or even just like logistics wise, a guidebook to some of these places. But then there I come into the problem of like pointing out exactly where these locations are. And, so that's fraught. I'll figure it out. The short answer is yes, I do plan on writing a book.
Lots of support for the book in the chat.
Oh,
There's also
good.
been a couple of questions you can buy for those that want to just buy the current issue featuring the article, Meg's article about Wonder Hussy. I just dropped the link in the chat. You can buy individual issues. First of all, grab this. It's gorgeous. There's tons. There's a 30-page cult mystery in here, but there's also this fabulous, beautiful
And that cover story, I made a video about that. So that ties into my channel too.
You
Carlos
can buy this at the Alta online store. There's a link in the chat. Grab it if you want. You can grab our t-shirts, our swag. I noticed that you have some swag. We mentioned the calendar. I love your hat. You wear those glasses and that hat in so many of your videos. Is that like gas station logo? What is it?
Well, yeah, it's kind of a long story. I used to buy hats at this gas station and they quit making them in the color I liked. So I made my own, but I can't sell this hat because this is a trademarked mobile gas logo. So I made my own. I turned it into a donkey because I'm really not a thoroughbred myself. I turned it into a donkey with wings and a unicorn horn. And you can buy those hats on my website, WonderHussy.com.
All right, we have gone a little bit over our time. I know that I can't believe you stopped what you were doing, parked in the middle of nowhere to do this interview with your like Starlink and made it work. You are so generous with your time, clearly with your fans. And I can see why they are so loyal and dedicated to you.
Oh, thank you guys.
Thank you
Listen,
so much.
let me just say one more thing. Anybody who had a question that we didn't get to, don't worry. I'm doing a live stream when I get back to Death Valley in 2 weeks or so, and I'll announce that.
Fantastic. All right, folks. So it sounds like a lot of you already follow Wonder Hussy online. For those that are new and excited, again, we're going to send you links to all of that. And this will be posted if you missed any part of this or want to share it with friends. It'll be posted to YouTube, to Alta Online later today, and we'll send you an email. I want to invite you before you bounce. I want to invite you to next week's Alta Live, where we've got so many going on. Who's coming next week? It's someone really cool. Oh yeah, we're going to talk to the executive director of Goodwill of Orange County. And learn all about that extraordinary organization, thrifting, used clothes, power of retail, and what that looks like. And
I bought this shirt at Goodwill. Woo woo.
Love used. I love secondhand stuff. Thrifting, yes. So join us for that. That's a week from today, August, my God, 7th. at 12:30 here at Alta Live. Wonder Hussy, Sarah Jane Woodall, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. Really appreciate you and all of your enthusiastic crew.
My pleasure.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.